gonna call this meeting to order. I'm gonna ask Wanda to read me.
Yes, ma'am. In compliance with the Freedom of Information Act, notice of meetings and agendas were posted and furnished to all news media and persons requesting notification.
Okay. We're going into executive session. Would you please state why we're going?
Yes, ma'am. Under item number 1, discussion of appointment, compensation, promotion, demotion, discipline, or release of an employee or student or a person regulated by a public body, or the appointment of a person to a public body for the auditor and treasurer. For number 2, discussion of negotiations incident to proposed contract arrangements and proposed purchase or sale of property, the receipt of legal advice where the legal advice related to pending, threatened, or potential claim or other matters covered by the attorney-client privilege, settlement of legal claims or exposition of the public agency and other adversarial conditions, situations involving the assertion against the claim of an agency. For election matters, exit 3, Cypress Ridge Spec Building number 4, Levy Volunteer Fire Department, Waste Management of Georgia, Incorporated, Jasper County versus Western Surety Company and Denise Smith. And for number 5, discussion of matters related to the proposed location, expansion, or the provision of services encouraging location or expansion of industries or other businesses in the area served by a public body for prospect update, project refurb, and project sergeant.
At this time, call for a motion. We're going to executive session to discuss the following.
So moved, Madam Chair. Second.
Properly moving, second. All in favor of, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. At this time, I call this meeting back to order, and I'm going to call for a motion to come out of executive session.
So moved, Madam Chair. Second.
It's been properly moved and second. All in favor of, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. I should stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Councilman Brantley, invocation by Councilman Kemp.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, keep us all safe in this holiday season. To the troops overseas, to the troops in the United States, to the Sheriff's Department, to the police who are protecting us, keep them out of harm's way. And let us provide the guidance to do the right thing. Amen.
Approval of agenda,
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second.
properly moved and second. All in favor of, say aye.
Aye.
Approval of the minutes from 8:15,
So moved.
Second.
properly moved and second. All in favor of, say aye.
Aye.
Presentations, we have none. At this time, we're going to open the floor to the public. We have 4 people that signed up.
We do.
Councilman Souls.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We first have Mr. Grant McClure, Coastal Conservation League. Mr. McClure. Thank you, and you have 3 minutes.
Hey, good evening, Council. My name is Grant McClure. I'm with the Coastal Conservation League. Thanks for your time this evening. I'm here to express my support for the joint feasibility study on development that is being proposed between the town of Ridgeland and Jasper County. I thank you for listening to your constituents on this issue, and I also commend your handling of the Chelsea South and Bailey Park projects, which were before you all over the summer. I'm hoping that together, working with the community, we can achieve more conservation outcomes for places like, reflective of places like Slater and Buckfield. I hope that in the study you might consider, in addition to things like traffic and infrastructure, maybe soil types, flood zones, and also factor in future sea level rise into your study. So again, appreciate your time and look forward to working with you all in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Mr. Smitty Cool.
Chairwoman Clark, Councilman, as you know, the onslaught of overdevelopment in our area is increasingly having adverse impacts on our natural resources, straining our infrastructure and roadways, thus creating dense traffic and threats to public safety, all leading to a diminishing quality of life of Jasper County residents, citizens in our opinion. With most of the surrounding area now developed or slated to be developed, attention is turned primarily to eastern Jasper County for new development opportunities, including multifamily homes and commercial space. I would truly like to thank Council for your consideration of forming a collaboration with the town of Ridgeland to develop a sound regional plan with appropriate growth boundaries for the town of Ridgeland and surrounding areas. These essential boundaries are the foundation for providing essential emergency services and municipal resources. I would urge Council to consider pausing accepting new applications for a period of 6 months while a regional plan is developed. I'm sure you are aware of the petition by Pepper Hall LLC and Chelsea LLC to the town of Ridgeland for the annexation and development of over 1,500 acres stretching from Bowling Hall to the edge of Old House along U-Haul Creek and Highway 462. This would be a massive development as proposed, including 4,800 units, 580,000 square feet of commercial space, and 75 docks, to name a few highlights. The current county zoning, your zoning, is rural preservation, and that zoning status should be honored and protected. The requested zoning for this special district will forever change zoning standards and will have various adverse impacts on the area. We urge council to call a meeting as soon as possible with resident council to review plans for this 1,500-acre Ticton Hall development. Our group of concerned citizens has now grown to well over 1,000, and our priorities are as follows: public health, safety, and welfare of local residents, protection of natural resources, water quality, and sound environmental stewardship, protection of local historical and cultural resources, maintaining the rural character of this unique area, providing public recreational access and educational opportunities in regards to Uhar Creek, as well as the surrounding estuaries and woodlands. And finally, partner with land conservation organizations, private landowners, and government representatives to protect the vital natural resources of Jasper County. We urge you to parallel these priorities and carry out the vision of your own Jasper County Comprehensive Plan and Natural Resources Conservation Plan. Thank you very much for your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. McCullough.
Here's some details for you to pass along to them, please, Mr.
Thank
Fuller.
you, sir. Happy to.
Next, we have Ms. Connie Horton.
Good evening, Chairwoman Clark and members of council. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Connie Horton, and I grew up here in Jasper County. I love this place, and I'm extremely concerned about the overdevelopment we are experiencing and the potential for more to come. I have been before you recently on 2 occasions expressing my opposition to Chelsea South. We all have experienced the impacts of overdevelopment in southern Beaufort County and Hardeeville. Now, the town of Ridgeland is considering a petition request to annex 1,520 acres into the town limits. This proposed development includes 4,800 residential units, including cluster housing and 4-story apartments, 75 docks on Uhal Creek, and 13.5 acres of commercial space. This one massive development would include more housing units than the number of residents who currently live in the town of Ridgeland. According to the Jasper County Comprehensive Plan, this property is currently zoned rural preservation. This zoning should be honored. If rezoned, there will be irreversible impacts to our natural resources and historic sites, not to mention the detrimental impacts to an already overburdened Highway 462. I know each of you has a love, just like me, for Jasper County, or you wouldn't be sitting in those chairs. You have an incredible opportunity to make a difference. You have an incredible opportunity to slow down these fast and furious developers who are here to rape our resources, make their money, and just move on. I am before you this evening asking you to please consider forming a collaboration with the town of Ridgeland to develop a regional plan. It is imperative that there are appropriate growth boundaries for the town of Ridgeland and surrounding areas. Ticton Hall development does not belong in the fragile area where it is proposed. This development is only the tip of the iceberg as to what's to come if this annexation is approved. I would also urge council to press the pause button and not accept any new applications for large-scale developments while this regional plan is being developed. Thank you all to your service to Jasper County, and thank you for listening to my concerns.
Thank you, Connie. We have Mr. Milton Woods, Jasper County icon, historian.
Yes.
What can I do for you, council? Did I hear the numbers right? 75 docks on a pristine waterway? Folks, we would have to have traffic lights on the rivers for the boats to get around. This is a serious challenge for this council, but you have the authority and the privilege to make a difference, a positive difference. Madam Chairman, Councilman, I'm Milton Woods. Thank you for the opportunity to come and speak. We, the citizens of Ridgeland and Jasper County, do not want to become a Hardyville, Bluffton. We want to be Ridgeland and Jasper County. We're not opposed to development, but we want development in our county and our community to not be the standard that is out there today. We want our standards to be tough, and when people think of our community, they think of the best development. We want to eliminate the developer that's only interested in the almighty dollar before we get started. People want to come here, but let's make it tough for them to get here. We have something very special, and you have the authority to keep it that way. And we want to protect our environment. This is one of the most critical areas environmentally in South Carolina. Yep, you heard me right. We're one of the most critical development areas in the state. Excuse me. Once we have lost this pristine area and preserve these critical lands, once we've lost it forever. We've lost it for every future generation. Can you imagine that people won't even be able to harvest oysters, shrimp, crab, or swim in U-Haul Creek? And U-Haul Creek is not just where the settlement is. It's all the way to where Broad River. It runs off from Broad River. I have to obey that. Well, thank y'all, and I just ask you to be a part of the comprehensive plan, and I support everything that's been said by the three candidates that spoke before me. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving right along. Resolutions. Ms. Marvin?
Thank you, Madam Chairman, members of council, members of the public. This is an inducement resolution that is proposed to be adopted by the council, which shows the inclination of the council to adopt an economic development incentive for a certain property with a certain developer. This is Gopher Hill Holdings. You'll find other documents follow along in the ordinance section of this. The inducement resolution is passed by one reading, and it allows, among other things, besides showing the inclination of the council, but it qualifies certain expenditures to be qualifying expenditures as part of economic development. It's the recommendation of council, the administration of the council adopt this resolution.
Any discussion? Any questions? Call for a motion.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
It's been properly moved in second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion passes. All right, Mr. Tedder, public hearing and third reading of ordinance.
Yes, ma'am. We had a public hearing at the last meeting in Hardyville of this, which is an amendment to the development agreement for the existing Peninsula Tract, a particular tract of the Peninsula Tract, C2, which is off of Argent Boulevard, heading away from towards Buford. They have an existing development agreement. It will expire this coming year. They've asked to have it renewed so that they can have certainty of development ability, as it takes more than a year to get permitting these days. They've agreed to add some fees to this particular project to offset the cost of providing public services. We've been over this before. I'm happy to answer any questions. There's been no changes to speak of since the second reading on November 7th. It is a public hearing.
Okay. At this time, I'm going to open the floor for public hearing. Public hearing going once, public hearing going twice, public hearing closed. Council, any questions or discussion? At this time, I'm going to call for a motion.
So moved, Madam Chair.
It's been properly moved and second. All in favor of, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Mr. Taylor, third reading ordinance 0-2022-34.
This is an economic incentive program. It includes the creation of a multi-county park and adoption of a fee in lieu of a fee agreement for what we've been calling Project Freedom Industrial Partners, and Freedom Industrial Partners 2. This property is located in the southern part of the county. Mr. Fulton, this is across from the tennis
Yes, sir.
development down there. We've been over this before. We had a public hearing last time. There were no adverse comments on this. The basic incentives provide for a minimum investment over 6 years of $30 million. It freezes the millage rate, provides a 10% infrastructure credit agreement for 15 years.
Any questions? Any discussion? At this time, call for a motion.
So moved, Madam Chair.
It's been properly moved and second. All in favor of, say aye. Mr. David Tedder, third reading of ordinance authorizing the sale of TMS 063-30-03-10.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. This is third reading, as you said, approximately 11 acres. This goes in conjunction with an economic incentive program. This is property adjacent to the Graco over on the other side of I-95. The developer has already developed a portion of the property. This property is owned by Jasper County. He wishes to expand. The county has to pass an ordinance to sell the property. And then we'll get into the next ordinance, which is the incentive agreement that will assist him in developing the property. You've had a public hearing on this already.
Okay, this is the third and final reading on this. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
First of all, I gotta call.
Well, yeah,
I gotta go for the
you're very efficient.
Oh, Lord.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Thank you. It's properly moved and second. All in favor of, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Taylor.
Yes, ma'am. This is third reading ordinance 2022-35. This includes the incentive agreement, multi-county park agreement. This is the multi-county park agreement that allows us to have the incentive agreement that follows after this. It's an agreement with Hampton County to provide for a fee in lieu for the project that we just described, the 11 acres.
Okay. Any questions? All in
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Taylor, third reading of ordinance.
Yes, this particular ordinance, 22-36, authorizes the execution and delivery of an infrastructure credit agreement for the property we've been discussing, the 11 acres over by the Graco across the road over there. It's a modest incentive that covers the, I won't say discrepancy, but the difference between an appraised value and an offered value. And that makes it up over a 5-year period. They'll get a credit that adds up to an amount. Find it again. I'll go with it from memory. It's a 5-year period, $280,000.
I think it's less than that. I believe it is the $150,000.
Sorry, I have 3 files on this, so I'm sure I'm looking at the right one.
I think it is 150,000.
I think it is 150,000. It's in the document, which I apologize.
I think it's 150,000, Madam Chair.
Okay. All right. This time I'm going to call for a motion.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Do you hear a second?
Second.
It's been properly moved and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Mr. Andrew Fulton.
Madam Chair, members of council, I'm before you tonight to talk about the ordinance that you had first reading on at your last meeting. This is consideration of second reading. We do have the public hearing set up for December the 5th. This concerns an ordinance that authorizes a memorandum of understanding with the Polaris Tech Charter School for the use of the athletic field behind emergency services, defined here as the airport field complex, also known to some as the old JC's field. I did note the ordinance is fine, but I did note in review today of the MOU, we probably need to change a couple things. The soccer season is identified as that 10-month range from August to May on page 3, but on page 4 of the agreement, it talks about the terms and understanding. The term of the MOU proposes to start August the 1st, which we can't do. It needs to be December the 6th, assuming that you would adopt it on December the 5th. So you get 1 year out of the 2022 year, and it's written here to have a term through May 1, 2024. So those are the corrections we need to make on this. Ultimately asking for your consideration of second reading tonight, knowing that the public hearing and third reading will be scheduled December 5th. We also do have Ms. Kim Statler, Executive Director for Polaris Tech Charter School, in the audience. Kim, you want to address the council?
Any questions?
Madam Chair, I want to ask Andy one question. If you could. Andy, the condition of the old JC's field, is it usable? I mean, I haven't been out there forever.
Yes, sir.
Is it in good condition?
Yes, sir.
Is there any facility upgrades or anything that we need to be?
No, sir. We did that in the initial term. There was an initial term with this that was a little bit different, and Polaris Tech added some additional items to it. We were able to get the field irrigated and sodded, so it's in good shape.
Got bleachers?
I don't know about bleachers.
We got bleachers. Is there anything, Ms. Statler, that we need to do to make it suitable for all the students to use? And
No, I think actually you've done a great job of maintaining it. We lost our ability to have sports because of COVID. So you all have been using it from a county rec facility, but you run a fall season and we run a spring season. So I think, no, not at this time. And if there's something that we see, we'll be happy to partner with you to correct moving forward. But the kids are super excited to do something.
It's kind of funny, a friend of mine, his mom passed away about a month ago, and they were going through all of our old photos, and he sent me a picture of us in our small fries Dolphin football team, you know, pads and helmets on, and I had to laugh at that. Wow.
That was way back.
Blast from the past. We were all out of that field playing when I was like 9 years old, so.
So the last
That's
time we
my heart
brought,
well to see other kids out there
yeah,
doing
the
the
last
same
time we
thing.
brought this to council, everyone had a memory out
Yeah.
there, so that's
Yeah,
awesome.
That's cool. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay,
Madam Chairman,
yes.
Andy, have we talked to Parks and Rec about this for conflicts?
Yes, sir, Parks and Rec's director reports to Mr. Lucas, who reports to me. So we've done that return.
Will this interfere with this our soccer program?
No, sir, he indicated he was for it. In fact, he's already signed the agreement.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Offer
Gonna
a
call,
motion with the necessary corrections, Madam Chair.
Second.
properly moved and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, moving right along. David Taylor,
And this is ordinance 2022-30, authorizing the sale of several pieces of property out at Cypress Ridge Industrial Park for Wilford Hill Holdings. This is an aside on the one that I couldn't find the consent agreement a moment ago with that little pause that Andy gave me. I found the exhibit. It's $154,000, 20%, which will be taken each of 5 years on that other project. On this particular one, this is the spec building that we have in the industrial park, an adjacent parcel, or two adjacent parcels that is part of a contract for sale that we have with them, in which we will also receive acreage from the Wilford Holdings in exchange for the acreage that we're giving them along with the building, with a basically $1.5 million cash sale, allow us to take out the financing we have on the spec building that we built, I believe, 2 years ago now. It's completed. And there's an incentive agreement that goes along with this that will follow.
any questions? Call for motion.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second.
Properly moved and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, Mr. David Taylor?
Yes, ma'am. As part of that sale that I just mentioned in the earlier document, there will be an investment made by the purchaser that is SSRC agreement for a number of years. And again, minimum investment, qualifying investment, of $9 million.
Okay, any discussion? Call for motion.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, new business. Mr. Andrew Foudry.
Madam Chair, members of council, I'm before you tonight to talk about two new positions we've had the opportunity to discuss with you prior. One is Deputy Tax Collector, and one is Geographic Information Systems Technician. The Deputy Tax Collector would report to the Tax Collector, who ultimately reports to Ms. Burgess. The Geographic Information Systems Technician would report ultimately to the Director of Information Technology, who also is a direct report of mine. Both positions are grade 113 in our matrix, which have a value of $40,480 to $62,720. We can fund these out of the current budget, and requesting your permission to go ahead and create these and fill these two positions. Again, Deputy Tax Collector and Geographic Information System Technician.
Any questions?
Madam Chairman?
Yes.
On the tax collector, what are the qualifications? 1 year college certificate, what is that? What would that mean?
Ms. Burgess, you want?
So a
Is
college
that part of the
certificate?
age? What is that? I've never heard of a certificate for 1 year.
So you can take a course.
Oh, a course, okay.
A course that would be a certification.
Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Anyone else? Any other questions?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second.
Properly moved in second. All in favor, vote say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Emily Burgess. Presentation of task.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of council. Excuse me, didn't mean to talk over you. So tonight, we have basically the task order for MBCon so that they can begin the pre-construction services for the farmer's market. And that includes preparation of a guaranteed maximum price proposal for the farmer's market. And I included in your package the portion of the contract that is referenced in the work authorization, as well as exhibits A and B, which are also referenced. Of course, these are drafts, but once they get this signed work authorization, they will begin the process of preparing and finalizing Exhibit A and Exhibit B.
Okay. Are there any questions? Call for motion.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second.
Properly moved in second. All in favor of say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Old business, Mr. Danny Lucas. Airport update.
Good evening, Honorable Chairwoman Clark, distinguished members of the County Council. On May 20th of this year, you recall that you had a workshop with staff and the pilots to discuss a number of issues. And so I'm coming to you to bring you an update as to what we've done since that May 20th meeting. As you will also recall, the County Council entered into an agreement with the Federal Aviation Administration back in 2014 and 2015 or so to greatly increase the capacity and the viability of the airport. And now the airport is under the National Plan of Integrated Airport Systems. It is a federally obligated airport, and we hope that the airport is on its way to becoming a full-service airport. In that manner, the airport is also 40 years behind the Beaufort Executive, Hilton Head, Colleton County, and other airports of similar stature. So we would like to continue on with our development of the airport so that it can carry its weight and be a treasure to the Jasper County and the Low Country and the region and the United States for airport services. As you may also know, we're endeavoring to be not only a leisure airport, but to become a business airport. And there is no intent to push out the private flyers that are at the airport now. It's just a matter of bringing in the business class and then having an airport that will serve the uses and benefits of all. So there were a number of myths, and we've done our best to dispel some of those myths. And in doing so, we've had a number of meetings with the tenants. On November 2nd, we met with 5 tenants. November 9th, we had an additional meeting. The hangar meetings for November 16th and November 17th were canceled. There was an attempt by the hangar owners to supply the airport and the staff and Mr. Fulgham with the information that we've asked for, so we're giving them some time to do that. Another issue that was discussed in the May 20th meeting was to develop, and is to develop, a model ordinance so that we can bring everybody under the same umbrella with old ordinances and even a new ordinance to become a better ordinance that will serve the county and the FAA better. When I say ordinance, what I'm really talking about here is a model lease agreement. Now, we have also acquired premise liability for the airport in the year 2022. And we had some training on some premise liability issues back in October of this year. So this new model lease will also include a clause in there, what we call the hurricane clause. As you know, we live in a hurricane-prone area, and so the new leases will have a clause in that will state that you do live in a hurricane-prone area, and the county does not identify the individual, nor the hangar, nor the airplane. That's something that is a matter between them and their insurance carrier. What we're getting at here is a need to be much more careful and manage the risk of the airport much more so than it's been done in the past. So I mentioned once again that we had no premise liability insurance prior to this year, September or so of this year. Now we have casualty insurance on the buildings that we own and the like, but we had no premise liability insurance. And now we're selling fuel, of course. Premise liability insurance was definitely something that we needed to entertain without further delay. I also want to mention that in that meeting, we glossed over it, but again, there was a need to have a fully fleshed out risk management program that identifies all risk and an effort to either avoid the risk, mitigate the risk, or transfer the risk to the proper insurance agency. And it's incumbent upon us to do that for our own facilities and our own operation at the airport, but it's also incumbent upon the operators at the airport, pilots, hangar owners, to do the same thing, so that the county is not left with this informal indemnification of people in their operations. Now, you heard also from our consultant about our construction plans for the future. We're now finished phase 4, and now we're into phase 5. And that phase 5 includes a fuel farm, and so we've contracted with our fuel service provider and their subcontractor to construct a fuel farm. So the fuel farm that we are buying is $597,000. That does not include the concrete pads for it. And so that money has been allocated. And speaking of allocation, that money comes out of the Commerce Grant. You remember the Commerce Grant that we got? Okay, it has a matching grant to it, 100% matched on behalf of the county. It's $5 million is the amount of the total. 2.5 from the Department of Commerce and 2.5 from Jasper County. Unfortunately, the $5 million will not cover the complete cost of the terminal building that we have envisioned, nor will it cover completely the new apron that we also have envisioned. When we built the current apron, it was constructed in October of 2020, and it was a little bit over $1 million. The new estimate is $2.9 million. Now, to be fair, that includes a retrofit on the existing ramp of a lighting system. We do a lot of flying at night, especially during the winter. And we had, 2 weeks ago, we had a couple of night operations involving a helicopter, which was a bit interesting. But what I'm saying is that we're endeavoring to bring the airport into the 21st century and to give it the proper facilities so that it can serve our needs. We also have staffing needs out there. Right now we're operating Tuesday through Saturday, 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. We need to be operating 7 days per week, but we can't do it right now because we don't have sufficient staff to be able to do it that way. Getting back to the fuel farm, unfortunately, because of staffing issues, supply chain issues, even COVID, it's going to take somewhere between 42 and 48 weeks before that fuel farm is available for us. Now, in the meantime, we're pumping fuel directly from the trucks. We have one aviation gasoline truck, one jet fuel truck at 3,000 gallons, and we have borrowed another jet fuel truck that has 5,000 gallon capacity, and we use that during the tournament, and we're still using it. Speaking of the tournament, let me just give you a report on what we have sold so far when it comes to fuel sales and other revenues. From October 5th through November 20th, we sold 608 gallons of aviation gasoline. That's $3,477.16. 608 gallons of aviation gasoline. During the same period, October 5th through November 20th, we sold 5,995 gallons of jet fuel, and that's $34,849.62 in revenue. So our total fuel sales from October 5th through November 20th is $38,326.78. Additional revenue, $600 in after-hour fees, $1,200 in ramp fees for turbine aircraft. So that brings us a total of $40,126.78 in sales from October 5th through November 20th. So our AWOS project, which is the Automated Weather Observation Station, is underway. The total cost of it will be $323,202. That will be 90% funding from the Federal Aviation Administration, 5% from the state of South Carolina, and 5% from Jasper County. So therefore, Jasper County's share is $14,139. So we anticipate having that automated weather observation station completed in the early spring of 2023. The field farm, as I said before, is 48 weeks out. And the apron is, it'll be a 5-month project once we get started with it. So after the automated weather observation station is in place and completely operational, then the Federal Aviation Administration will come in and fund and construct our instrument landing system. Okay? So at that point in time, then we would be a full-service airport, assuming that the terminal building would have been also constructed. We anticipate about 13 to 15 months for the construction of the terminal building. There's no start date on that yet because we have a number of other things that we have to massage, let's just say, to get the numbers to where they need to be. So it's still a challenge out there. It's a working process, but it's an enjoyable challenge. And I think one day you're going to be very proud of the airport and the services that it brings. We're having a good time with the business pilots. We're having a good time with the pilots that are based at the airport. And over time, everybody, I think, will be very much satisfied with what we're doing, and it'll be a jewel for the county.
Okay. Any questions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Lucas, the staffing out at the airport, what's the status of I think we approved, was it 2 positions in the budget?
Yes, we have an administrative assistant position. That position is filled. Then you have a line service technician position. That position has been filled a number of times, and but we don't have anybody currently in the position. When we talked about that some time ago, we were talking about 2 or 3 line service technicians, but we only have 1 that is allocated right now, and we are struggling to fill that.
Who is the assistant administrator out there? You said administrative.
Administrative, the administrative assistant position.
Is that like your assistant in office administrative stuff?
Yes, sir, she does office administration.
That's okay. That's her responsibility.
Yes, sir.
I got you. Then the maintenance, is that the line technician that is supposed to be mowing the grass out there in the new track?
No, that's a separate position. The maintenance technician position was filled back in May, and he's doing a wonderful job for us. The other position
well, let me ask you this. The maintenance technician, he has to be certified to drive the tractor to know how to cut the grass?
No, sir, he doesn't have to be certified to drive the tractor. He just has to be trained to drive the tractor.
Well, that can't take but an hour. Is he ready to cut the grass? Is he
Well, he's cutting grass with the other 2 tractors. Yes.
So he's fully trained. There's no reason that the grass can't be cut in a timely manner. It's all good to go.
Well, there's no reason why he can't cut the grass.
Okay.
But you know, he would have to spend his entire time cutting grass. You know, if we keep the airport grass the way we want to have the airport grass, looking manicured, we're gonna have to find some other options to substantially mow the grass out there. The out parcels we don't have a problem with. We're doing that already with a private contractor, but we prefer to mow the taxiways and the runways with staff that we know and that we train properly.
Well, we've got a new tractor. We paid for it, and the place needs to be look aesthetically pleasing, especially when people are flying in and visiting. And I expect the place to look good, and I want all the grass cut. There's no reason for it not to be. So we need to make that a priority. And then what's the status with the glider group out there?
Right now, we have issued to our consultant a request to come up with an estimate for the design, construction, and maintenance of a turf runway or landing area that would be suitable for not only the gliders but anybody else. And right now, they're underway doing that. In fact, we've gone so far as to secure one of our contractors that did work on the airport weigh in on how he would imagine the construction and the grading of the situation to go, including something that might be really important, and that is not only the landscaping but the irrigation. If you look at the north end of that area, it's thick and it stays fairly wet. The south end, down by the segmented circle, topsoil is worn away and it's rough. So we have clay surface in the middle, and then some sandy loam on the bottom end and on the top end.
Hasn't the gliders, that group, been using the grass runway? Haven't they used that in the past?
They have.
So
in fact, they're using it right now.
Is that an issue or against FAA rules for them to use that turf runway that they've been using, that they're using now, I guess?
No, so it's not against FAA rules. As you say, they've been using the grass area in the past. But what we looked at was risk and how it is that we are determining risk and how it is that we inform others of what their risk will be if they choose to operate off of the paved runway.
And I'm not a pilot, but I look at it kind of like a sailboat on the intercoastal waterway. It's having the right of way, and if I'm not mistaken, the glider has the right of way.
The glider does have the right of way over a powered aircraft.
Right.
Does not have the right of way
that
over
would be
a balloon.
landing though. If it's not a glider, it's a powered aircraft, right?
Well, it could be a balloon.
Well, yeah.
So the balloon has the right of way over all
I don't see that happening. But, I just want to make sure we're doing everything we can to support the Glider Association. I think they sent in a request a month or two back to make sure that it was official.
Yes, so we asked for that in writing.
And has there been any action after that request?
Well, the action is that our consultant and a contractor who's done work on the field are putting together an estimate as to how much it would cost to design, construct, and maintain a turf runway or turf operating area.
Is that not just mowing the grass then? I mean, it's already there, they're already using it. I don't understand designing it and all this. I mean, I'm just a simple guy.
Well, it would need to be graded. There's some rough areas there, some ruts in the field. Not on the north end, but in that middle part of it.
Right. So we just got to grade it and mow the grass and make sure it's nice and level for the gliders to land, and everything will be okay with that.
And look at whether it would need to be irrigated. Now, however, if the council wants to allow anyone to use that area as it currently is, that's the council's prerogative.
Well, currently, right now, if they're allowed to do it.
They're not allowed to do it by paperwork, but they are doing it just because they want to do it.
So in order for that to keep that process going, the council would need to approve that?
You wouldn't have to approve it, but what I'm saying is if the council, we're going to give you an estimate as to how much it's going to cost to bring that area up to speed. But what I'm saying is if the council decides that it doesn't need to be altered in any way whatsoever, then that's your choice.
I would think we need to make sure it's safe, absolutely, especially if there's unlevel areas.
Yes, we were coming at it from a risk management standpoint.
On the fuel farm, I think that was a good number, but we just need to keep in perspective that was during the golf tournament and a lot of jet traffic coming in. So those numbers will not always be that sweet.
No, they won't.
So, okay. No more questions. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Well, Mr. Lewis, is there any single issue that is causing the overall progress of the airport.
Is there a single issue that
Yes,
is?
that's causing the suppression of the progress of the airport.
No, sir. There's not a single issue, no.
So multiplicity of issues.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Jesus. Okay. Wow.
Any more questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay. We thank you, Mr. Lucas, for that information.
Yes.
And we're gonna continue to work along with you to get our airport to where it needs to be, and above all, safe.
Yes.
Safe. All right, council members, comment. Mr. Kemp?
On Veterans Day, I was up in Hampton at a Veterans Parade. It was a Veterans Parade for Hampton and Jasper County. The first one. And the bride, Jenkins and Sarah, the last name was the instrumental part of that. I was a speaker there. We talked about the suicide of veterans. If anybody doesn't know it, there's a number of between 22 and 44 veterans a day that die. And the tenor is, you see a veteran, talk to him. That's as simple as that. Talk, see if he has a problem. If he does, try to help. Next year, we're going to have it in Ridgeland, or they're anticipating having it in Ridgeland, and we hope we have participation. I also participated in the SCORE Minority Grant Program. Right now, I think we have 12 people that are receiving grants or should be receiving grants. We don't know yet, it's not finalized, but of those, 2 are from Jasper County. I say that right now because I think next year we may have the same grant. If we do, we've got to get the word out. Only 3 people applied for Jasper County. We've got to get that up. Entrepreneurship in Jasper County should be paramount. We talk about the big factories, the small stores are really needed. And that's about it. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Oh, by the way, excuse me. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. I appreciate everything. And I want to thank the poll workers for this election. They're doing their duty and service. We need more of them. We're shorthanded, but let's get talking out there to get more people in the polls. Thank you.
Okay. Just let me say, Madam Chair, that in my bid for re-election, I was not successful, but I certainly would like to thank the public at large for your support. And I'm certain that things will continue to go well for the council. God bless and thank you much.
Thank you. Mark?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just want to congratulate OP5. I think they were recognized by the South Carolina Veterans Association for their program they do to support the veterans, not only in Jasper County, but also Beaufort County and the Low Country. What those guys are doing out there is unprecedented, amazing resource that group has been to our veteran community, and also, just the entire Low Country, supporting well outside of the veterans as well. So those guys are doing great. Congratulations to Mr. Brown and Mr. Kennedy on that. And I too would like to thank everybody for the elections, work with the poll workers, supporters, citizens of our county. My condolences to Mr. Brantley on his campaign, but I appreciate what he's done for the county and his time serving on council, and I've enjoyed being up here with him, and I wish him nothing but good things in the future. And I want to thank those that supported me and voted for me, and I hope that I'm able to do a good job, be transparent, and hold me accountable, and make sure that we keep our interests for the county at heart on really what matters to our county and what's best for all the people in it. So, thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. We thank everyone for what they have done up to this present time, especially our staff. We want to wish them a happy and safe Thanksgiving. So please enjoy your family, because tomorrow is really not promised to you. Okay? We're going to move right along with the administrator's report.
Madam Chair, members of council, the information I provided to you in the report this week is just for information only, but I did have one item to report out that I think you could be proud of. That is, Ms. Burgess notified the Department of Revenue last week that your transportation sales tax has reached its point. You remember back in 2016, was the transportation sales tax referendum, 2017, May of 2017. Collections began. It was to go till 2027 for a period of 10 years, or until you hit the $30 million mark. Well, you've hit the $30 million mark, a little over the $30 million mark. And so that 1% will be falling off of the sales tax.
Sweet.
And we also know that the school tax referendum was unsuccessful, and so that one will be falling off. So the county will be going from a 9% to a 7% soon. DOR has the responsibility of getting the word out to the businesses, so there's going to be a lag time, so we'll probably get a whole other quarter, is that right? Yes. Quarter of revenue on this. But for now, that transportation sales tax has sunset, and you have the opportunity to look at that again in 2024. Thank you.
At this time, I'm going to call for a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Madam Chair.
We hear a second. Properly moved in second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.